now from the front of the Delta-2 second stage, and hopefully we can maintain that signal. That will be really, really cool to see.
Yes.
And standing by for spacecraft SEP shortly. And we have good indication of separation of the ICESat-2 spacecraft.
Awesome. That is great. That's what we want to see. That motion there you see on your screen is the spacecraft drifting away from the second stage. So that looks good. Obviously, we'll get full reports later, but definitely like a lot of people breathing another sigh of relief. There's several of those that happened today.
It's just another milestone. We still have a little bit more to go. And like we said, verify that solar panels are out and get that state of health. As you had mentioned earlier, they want to get into that light, 24-hour light, and be ready to go. So we're waiting to see that. We see the teams at the Remote Launch Control Center, NASA's launch manager Tim Dunn and his team celebrating the separation of ICESat-2 there. That's a very historic moment for this final Delta-2.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of spacecraft folks, Goddard folks, Northrop Grumman that are, again, another big sigh of relief. But I want to actually take a step back for a second and talk about the Delta-2. So again, this was the final Delta-2, 155th. But we were expecting the final Delta-2 was actually going to launch in 2011. When we launched the 2011, there was a Delta-2 mission, and we thought that was the last one. So, Mick, how are we here today with another Delta-2?
Yeah, the teams went through this with our NPP mission here on the West Coast and Grail on the East Coast. We thought that was the end of Delta-2. However, NASA still had some science missions out there, and United Launch Alliance kind of stepped up and said, we've still got some Delta-2s left. So we matched those up, and NASA's Launch Services Program was able to get OCO-2, SMAP, JPSS-1, and ICESat-2 on the remaining 4 Delta-2s that ULA had. But what most people don't know is I think that they don't know that there's a 5th Delta-2 out there, or parts of a Delta-2, I should say. Most of one. We couldn't launch it, but there is some information we'd like to share on that with those parts that are available, and I think United Launch Alliance's Tori Bruno has an announcement for us.
Hello, Delta-2 fans. Just because we recently watched a Delta-2 liftoff for the last time doesn't mean we have to say goodbye. I'm excited to announce that the final Delta-2 rocket will soon take its place in the lineup of historic rockets located in the Rocket Garden at NASA's Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex in Florida. The Delta-2 rocket has been a venerable rocket for NASA and civilian scientists, the U.S. military, and commercial customers throughout its almost 30 years of service. This program comes to a close with the final launch of NASA's ICESat-2, but its legacy will continue, and the Visitors Complex will help us keep the story of success of this much revered rocket in the hearts and minds of the public. The maiden Delta-2 took flight on Valentine's Day in 1989, successfully delivering the first operational GPS satellite into space. Since that first launch, Delta-2 rockets have launched 154 successful missions. Its resume includes several trips to Mars, as well as the planet-hunting Kepler, the twin lunar orbiting Grail spacecraft, 48 GPS satellites, and numerous commercial imaging and communication satellites. These tremendous achievements are a tribute to the dedicated team at ULA and our supplier partners that ensure mission success each and every launch. So, the next time you are in Florida, stop by the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex and take a selfie with the Delta-2 and make sure and tag @ULA Launch.